So I just got a notification on my phone that I have 2 packages delivered. So let's see what's outside. Woo! Hope it's what it is, what I think it is. Awesome. I literally ordered this stuff 2 days ago. I can't even believe how fast it got here. I mean, T-Bolt's pretty close to me. I mean, they're probably an hour away, but this is all the way in Washington. 2 day. It says 3 day, but I'm telling you it got here in 2 days. I'm impressed. Here we go, fork springs. Got 4 sets actually, because even though there's 3 bikes here, there's another guy that rides on the team, TJ, but his bike's at his house, but he's gonna be bringing it over shortly. Woo. Look how they package these, that's pretty cool. I don't remember them coming like this when I had a Honda a couple years ago. But here are the rods. And that's it for that. Shift lever, I have one, TJ got one. Let's see what's in the T-Bolt. This looks cool. Woo! Got some swag. Huge shout out to the guys from T-Bolt. I mean, this is awesome. Got koozies here, t-shirts, hats. Let me respectfully not put this stuff right on the, especially the clothes, on the concrete, but I'll put this stuff on here. Awesome, awesome. Got t-shirts for the whole team. I would assume this is a banner. Demo banner, cool. Let's get down to the big. Woo! Brake cables, which is a must, extended brake cables. Awesome. These are gonna be sweet. And a bunch of sets of these pegs. These are sick. So these basically bolt right up to the stock mount here. And we actually preferred that because we didn't want to get rid of the center bar, even though I heard they're a little bit weak, the center bar. Because the center bar here, like underneath, where the peg will connect to, gets rid of the kickstand. I mean, people could laugh at it, but I personally like the kickstand because when you're riding on your pit bike or you're shoveling jumps, I'm not the kind of guy to just throw my bike on the ground. I'd rather, you know, if I'm in the middle of a field or in the middle of my track and there's no a tree big enough to lean it up against, I'm going to throw the kickstand down and not lean my bike in the dirt. And that's just how I am, but man, what an exciting morning. All right, TJ just pulled in. Here's the 4th bike to the fleet. Mike's over there. We just went for a run, so gonna start throwing parts together. This guy, he's already got his wheels done.
Factory already.
Yeah, factory ready. What's up, dude?
What's going on for you?
Ready? Mike over here.
What's up?
We might attempt these forks. We might have someone do them. We're gonna see how much it entails. Alright, so the first thing I did here was loosen, now that it's out, this top bolt of this fork. We're losing the bike here for a sec.
Gotta hook her up.
17 wrench. The top of this loosened while it's in the bike, so the triple clamps hold it, because you're never going to be able to hold this once it's out of the bike. We took the, undid the brake cable, took the front axle off. Now we're loosening this to get the forks out to put the rods and springs in. First part of this fork taking the assembly apart, it looks like a 5 Allen on the bottom. So we're taking this out. It's not as tight as it sounds. It's just low torque on this impact gun right now. Now oil will come out. Hold it up against that. Now I'm going to come back up top. It's still in the vise. 17 socket for the top. Off here. Well, actually, before I do that, I'm gonna compress this a little bit so oil comes out. Oh yeah. All right, so now this. There's not a crazy amount of tension on the spring, so it's not going to shoot out, because that's what I thought was going to happen the first time. The spacer comes out. You don't even reuse the spacer. This is kind of junk along with your old spring. Now this compresses all the way back in. Slowly. Okay, now I have a spring puller here. There's a washer on the outside of the spring. The rough side always goes down when you're putting it back in. So here's the stock spring. Mike, I want you to come over here in a second. I can show you the difference. Stock length and the other length. Now this one is basically just a spacer that gives you the same length as this. So this does not go back in. So now, before we get to this, we have to take the rest of this fork apart. So now this slides all the way out. This is where the rod comes out. Just trying to be neat so oil doesn't go all over. So I'm going to take this, flip it the other way because it won't come out that way. Okay, let's take that. Stock rod. So they have this white clip on here. Take it off with a flathead. Once you pry it off, it's easy to get off. I'm going to put this back in with the other stock one. This one can go on with your hands. That's on. Spring goes back on. Where are we at? Now there is it in there? Yes, it is. I'm going to just take it out just to show. There's a collar in here, so this basically has to go back in the same way. It's kind of like a cone shape, very fine. This goes back in the same way. The cone, the point of your top facing the top. Now this stays like this. You want to just hold this, TJ? This goes, let's see, back in here. Now it comes out the bottom and it only goes so far. Now this can go back in here. Compress it all the way. Maybe you want to zap it in with the impact here. He's going to just get it started, not overly tight, just to hold it in, because we're about to fill it. It's probably good. Hold up. Yeah, we're good. If it doesn't come out now, to make sure it's in, you pull the top, and if it stops, that means it's not going anywhere. So now, per the BBR instructions, it says 140 millimeters from the top, with the fork compressed, no spring in it. We measured a cup out to be just that. So let's see where we're at, or at least it'll get us close to it. So it's 140 from the top. So on our last one.
For everyone using a solo cup, where does it wind up on there?
Well, to the top of the L in the solo cup. All going through the rod. Tisha, can you come on the other side of me, please? Here, hold that. Put a mark on it. We measured 144 millimeters on this straw. So let's see, I'm gonna put my finger on the top, see if anything else comes out. Actually, let me go a little bit more. Okay, nice. So I wasn't far off with that cup at all. To the top of the L, maybe a tiny bit over on the solo cup. All right, so that's 144 millimeters from the top. Pretty simple. Spring goes back in. Fork lifts back up. Washer goes back in, rough side down on top of the spring here. That was a rough side. That's a rough side. Nice. Now this goes back on. Where's that impact? Can you just hold that fork, please? Now, when these go back on the bike, I'll tighten it again one more time. So now I'm going to flip the fork upside down this way. I'm going to need TJ to put a good amount of tension on it, on the press down there. And now up here is where I'm going to tighten it. See how it's coming out a little bit.
Why do you put the tension?
The tension is what holds the spring and what makes this Hold up. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Let's do it one more time. Ready? It's important because if there's no tension, that bolt and the rod will spin together. The tension on the spring pushes on the rod and makes it not spin. So there's one fork. Now 4 more left. All right, so the forks are done. Now, before I put them back on, I might as well just change the brake cable first. So I'm gonna take the stock one off. Here's the rubber boot. I'm gonna reuse that. Just hang it there for a second. 12 wrench to the end of this. Basically, this is going to loosen up all the way. Now I can pull the top out. This. I gotta take this clip back off because I am gonna reuse this. If I can get it off. So I just took the flathead, widened it. I'm gonna slide it all the way down this way. And get it out, okay. That, done with. Where's that new cable? Sweet. Thank you, sir. Let's slide that back on. This has got to go on, the spring, as I'm holding it in my other hand. Back through. This part could be a little tricky. Boot's got to go back on. Come on. Here it is. So I'm just going to leave all this, loose right now. Now I got the brake cable loose. All this is loose. All the fork clamps, triple clamps are loose. Now the forks are done, so we can slide the forks back in and tighten up the front end, and the front ends are done.
I wonder what went wrong today, Why do I feel like I linger between the words you say, the words.
So what do we got working?
Top shock bolt. Super tight. Just, I can't believe how tight these come.
Soiled.
Just crazy. I couldn't even get it with a breaker bar. And I had to move on to the air gun. Alright, so we got a longer Fox float going on here. They don't even make these anymore, so if you try to buy one, you're going to have your work cut out for you finding them online, because these were not easy to come about. But anyway, if you do have one, you got to have 2 of these spacers on. They're 3/4 inch to get you an 1.5 inch more space than what we had. Now we got to slide it in. Nice. Lift the back end a little bit. Oh, there's the bike. And it's literally as simple as that. The bigger shock raises the back end up. You put the nuts on and you're riding. But these are air shocks, so you got to make sure you have the right air pressure. I'm pretty sure I ran anywhere from 150 to 160 pounds of air pressure, and I do it with a Fox float air pressure gauge. Okay, so I have these DRC aftermarket pegs that are going on. It replaces the stock one. Still uses the same pin and the same clip, so it's literally about almost twice the size. Like, I mean, I would basically call it twice the size as the stock pegs. So these are a huge upgrade and probably a must as well. All right, bikes are officially on the ground. Here's mine. Look at the size difference though. Way bigger. Rear shock really brings the back end up as well as the front. Now that the bikes are taller, you can see that with it being on a kickstand, here, put it back down, how much more it will lean over. So we got the pegs right here on, pegs and extended brake cable from T-Bolt. I got the shifter rods and stiffer springs from BBR. Pro Taper handlebars. This one's done, and TJ's is done. So if you're looking for a good Project 110 and not to go like crazy overkill and just want a little bit more suspension for it to be taller for someone taller like us, even though I'm not that tall, but tall for this bike, definitely go with exactly everything that we went with, because we have done the setup on our old 110s and now it's on the new ones, and These are looking pretty darn sharp now. All right, TJ, how tall are you?
6'2". I mean, at stock height is pretty rough. So
Yeah.
with doing this, it makes.
And what's your weight?
175. So
About 175-ish.
it makes a big difference. With
Yeah.
everything.
Totally. Mike,
6 foot, 180 pounds.
there you go.
Super comfortable.
Big guys can ride it, and even bigger people can ride them. We got a lot of air in the back shock right now, but I mean the fronts are like really stiff. You could see. So for people a little bit taller, I mean these bikes feel like full-size BBR pit bikes now. So these are gonna be awesome. Bikes are back on the stands now. I just want to say a huge thank you to BBR Motorsports just for supporting this nice little pit bike program we have going on here, as well as T-Bolt, just very responsive to pit bike companies that have been a huge help to us. And getting us our parts so quick is awesome. I mean, both companies I ordered from, and within 2 days I had the parts at my door. So I think it's time to break these things in. There he goes. All right, so TJ doesn't leave his bike here. He brings his bike back home, which is fine. He only lives like right around the corner. So bikes are done. I hope this video helped some people out and gave them a little bit more direction on if they're trying to do some stuff to their new 110s. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel below and stay tuned for the ride video, the first ride of these bikes.